Welcome everybody to Clay Talks Shit, the new Three Cynics weekly news summary, in which Clay summarizes, condenses, and scrutinizes the news items from the previous week that he finds most interesting in the realms of politics, technology, and business, and isn't likely to make it into the podcast. First, let me say that if you're listening to this presentation on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, or whatever, you can watch a more impressive thing on YouTube. Our first story this week comes from the contradictory administration of President Donald Trump. The Trump administration rescinded the Obama-era guidance that instructed schools, more or less, to allow transgender persons to use whichever restroom made them most comfortable or aligned with their gender identity. The administration's justification for the action was something along the lines of, the states should have the power to create these guidelines for themselves, and the federal government has no place in this fight. Contrary to that, they also threatened, once again, to withhold federal funding to so-called sanctuary cities. That is, places that protect in some way undocumented persons from ICE. That's Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, if those locations don't follow federal guidance on the policing of illegal immigrants. This is a classic case of having your cake and eating it too. The current administration believes in states' rights when it fits their agenda, but will quickly forget that allegiance when it contradicts what they want to achieve. This is nothing new. The Democrats and Republicans are equally guilty of double standards for federal jurisdiction, states' rights, the adherence of cities and counties to federal mandate, etc. So make of it what you will. The current administration is guilty of the same double standards as everyone before it, and if you agree with the contradictory policies, you'll forgive the double standard. And if you disagree, you'll cry foul, and despite the fact that your chosen legislators did it before them. I can't tell you what to think, but you can tell me what you think in the comments. Next, we have sort of troubling news from the tech world. From an article on Engadget by Mariella Moon. Back in 2015, Georgia police officer Victor Collins was found floating face up in his friend's hot tub. That friend, James Andrew Bates, called the police to report the body and claimed that it must have been an accidental drowning. But it turned out, Victor Collins' eyes and lips were swollen and there were drops of blood around the hot tub. So naturally, James Andrew Bates was eyed as the primary suspect for any untoward shenanigans. Here's where the tech part comes in. Bates owns an Amazon Echo that streamed music near the tub, and police say that device may have incriminating records or data that could help their case. But Amazon won't help them. Law enforcement has been demanding that information. They even got a search warrant specially for that device. But Amazon has filed a motion to throw out that warrant because they claim that the user's voice commands and Alexa's replies are protected by the First Amendment. We'll see how this goes. Do you think the First Amendment protects an accused man's devices? Tell me in the comments. The last bit of news from the business world is provided by a Financial Times article by Hannah Kukler. It's been a bad few weeks for the ride, but not taxi service, Uber. Right on the heels of the hashtag delete Uber trend comes allegations of systemic sexual harassment and discrimination within the company. More than 100 women came forward to complain about the toxic environment at Uber after one engineer, Mrs. or Miss Susan Fowler, started off a firestorm with a blog post that detailed her troubling encounters with male coworkers and managers. Uber has assigned a team of investigators to root out the problem, but they've since taken flack from not only users and employees of the company, but also a few of its early investors, for assigning insiders like Arianna Huffington and former Attorney General Eric Holder. Some are essentially saying that those are not people to be trusted to actually cure the problem. And all this has led to an extension of the delete Uber trend, with users posting images of themselves deleting the app from their phones with snarky or outright condemning comment. So, does this mean that Uber should be destroyed by its users, or lack thereof? Or should it be fixed? I think the delete Uber thing is pushing the company in the right direction, and I hope these things will be resolved. But if too many people delete Uber, there won't be an Uber, and everybody will be left to deal with their competitors. Is that as good an outcome as fixing the culture of the company? Is ending the employment of about 6,700 or so people better than helping them as a whole transform into a better company? Let me know in the comments. That's all for this week. Don't forget, if you like this video, like it. If you dislike it and want me to shut up, go ahead and do that too. Use the little ball down there to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And don't miss the podcast every Wednesday live on Twitch. Until next week.